go for launch.
5,
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Anything can happen in the next half hour.
4,
My friend, we cannot keep this a secret any longer.
This whole thing is insane.
3,
Quiet, please. I am analyzing.
Where's the kaboom?
2,
There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom.
1.
Greetings, my fellow galactic travelers, and welcome back to Planet 8. This is your mission commander Larry speaking to you from our hidden base. Chief Engineer Bob is here by my side as always in the command center, and circling Planet 8 in our orbital spy satellite is Reconnaissance Officer Karen. This episode, we're going to be talking about things that we've done, places we've gone, and items we'd like to share. Straight away, let's kick it over to Chief. Why don't you tell us a little about Ultrafest, Chief? How did it go?
Well, yeah, we had Ultrafest a couple weekends ago, and went well. Good crowds, a lot of people there having fun watching Ultraman, and we did pretty good considering we were up against two behemoths that weekend. We were up against the San Diego Comic-Con, and we were up against Barbenheimer that was playing about 7 or 8 blocks away from the theater. So believe me, Adam, who owns both the 4-Star and the Balboa, he's usually at our shows the whole weekend, but he spent the whole weekend at the Balboa because he had Barbenheimer over there, Barbie on one screen and Oppenheimer on the other. And every show was just blown out, sold out.
Wow.
Like crazy. So I have not seen either movie, but we had a blast doing Ultrafest. So definitely a good crowd. Dory Krause was a great guest. He played Jack Shindo in Ultraman Towards the Future. And we had prizes galore. Mill Creek Video gave us like 120 Blu-rays to give away.
Oh, that's cool.
Just toss them everywhere. Here, you want some Blu-rays? Take some Blu-rays. Here, I want some Blu-rays. I'll take one. You got this one? No, here, take that one. And then there were people that, I mean, we gave away so much stuff that we'd call it, we'd read a ticket number out, and someone would be like, oh, I've won 3 prizes already this weekend. I don't have any room for any more. But we had one company gave us like 6 plush Ultramen and 6 plush Gamora figures. And so I was just like, if I saw a kid in the theater, I'd walk up and just hand them a plush. Here you go. And they were all beaming with that. Had 2 people there. They were actually at our Ultraman show back in 2005 at the Castro Theater.
Wow.
And so made sure they got some prizes. Here you go. So we did shoot video of the whole thing. We had Butch Portillo there on Friday night shooting video.
Oh, nice.
And then we had David Ballard do the video. And he shoots a lot of video for Frank and for Tom Wersch and at the different events that they do, the Orinda and all that. So he shot ours. And I had to send all of that over to Tsuburaya in Japan. And to Ultraman Connection here in the US. So some of that stuff they say they're supposed to send waivers if they use any of it. But some of it may end up on the YouTube Ultraman channel. Some may show up on Ultraman Connection website. Once in a while they do special streams and things. They may use clips for those. So we'll see what happens with them. But it was good, a good weekend, successful. Where I need to like type up a big report. What went good? What didn't? What would I do different? What do I do the same? And send that over. And then we're going to talk about the possibilities of the future.
Oh, nice.
Will we do this next year? Will we make it a regular show?
Yeah.
Will we take it on the road? I mean, who knows?
Yeah. Well, I felt terrible. I missed it. I was looking forward to it. And then, like you said,
Comic-Con down in San Diego, and we'd already bought our tickets like months in advance. So I was like,
Well, then let's segue to San Diego Comic-Con.
San Diego Comic. Real quickly, do you have any of those sweet Ultraman posters left? Those little,
The Shin Ultraman posters?
yeah.
I just might.
Might need to come visit you. But anyway,
We'll have our lunch in the next week or two, and
there you go.
we'll exchange swag.
I hope you can do this next year. When I was putting the posters and the cards up, and I threw some down at Comic-Con on the swag table, but the comic shops up here, they were all excited about it, and they were like, "Oh wow!" I'm like, "Yeah, there's Godzilla Fest in August." So
Yeah, it was funny because I don't know if I mentioned this on the show before, but we had double-sided postcards. In fact, here's one here. Ultraman on one side, Godzilla Fest on the other. So I would go, and usually like the comic book shops, I'd say, hey, we've got an Ultraman show coming up in July, and then we also have Godzilla in August, and they'd get all excited about Godzilla and all that. But when I would go to Japanese grocery stores, or I go around Japantown, or there's a little Japanese area in San Jose, I'd go there and I'd say, we have a Godzilla show coming up in August, and they'd be like, oh, okay. And I go, and we also have Ultraman in July. They'd be like, oh, Ultraman. And then I'd have to sit there for about 20 minutes listening to how they grew up watching Ultraman and how much it means to them. And I mean, Ultraman is so deep rooted in the Japanese culture and really a lot of parts of Asia that that was a big thing. Whereas with the Western audiences, it was like, oh, Godzilla, yes. And Ultraman, oh, that old show they used to show here. So.
Yeah, well, the postcards are great, and the posters too. The artwork is so different, and that was a lot of the places we're noticing how the artwork, changed between the shows, and they really liked that. And it's really
we had this is you can see.
If you're watching YouTube,
if you're watching that's right. If you're watching our video, you should watch the video.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Ultrafest side of the postcard, the art was by Larry Quatch. Not to be confused with Schwatch, but
Sasquatch.
Larry Quatch.
That's right.
And then the Godzilla Fest side was done by Nick Pino. And he is currently working on that to translate it into a shirt design.
Ooh.
Nice.
So we should have shirts of that at the show.
And they could see those
tickets are on sale now. So
if they want to see those, they can go to Bay Area Film Events.
BayAreaFilmEvents.com/Godzilla Fest.
Yeah.
And there's links. There's a whole list of what the movies are. There's a description. We have our guest, Tsutomu Kitagawa, who played Godzilla in Godzilla 2000 through Godzilla Final Wars, and a link to weekend passes, day passes, and the individual movie tickets just went up today, so I have to work on the website and get those up. But
awesome. Very cool. Well, I will be in town for that one. I should be in town for that one, so I'm happy.
As you should. My Sci-Fi
right.
Japan partner, Keith Aiken, he's hitting up a bunch of licensees trying to get a bunch of prizes for Godzilla Fest. So
nice.
I hit everybody up and got the Ultraman prizes, so he's going to get the Godzilla prizes. So
awesome.
I might even show one during the censor suite, but we'll see.
That would be cool. So yes, unfortunately, I couldn't make it to Ultra Fest, but I was down at San Diego Comic-Con. I hadn't been there since 2009.
Wow.
And if you've ever been there, that is, they call it the granddaddy of all conventions. It's just big. It's big. And, I try not to get, that old man mentality. When I was a kid and I went to conventions,
you could actually walk around.
Exactly.
You could walk right up to the stars. And
I remember when there were comic books at Comic-Con.
Yeah. Oh man.
I heard there were more comic books at this one, since a lot of Hollywood was pulling out.
You would be correct.
They had to fall back on comics.
Hall H was like the big granddaddy, like thousands of people, 4,500, I think they said was capacity for Hall H. And so all of the, Marvel pulled out a couple years ago, and they do their own, Disney convention, and they show their Star Wars and Raiders and all the licensed stuff that they have, as well as the Disney stuff. So Marvel hasn't really had a cinematic presence, but that old man, I was there when they introduced Iron Man, the first movie, and Robert Downey walked out on the stage. And true story. You see Karen nodding her head. If you're watching on YouTube, we
I'm
were
nodding
there.
my head.
We were there. It was wonderful. But anyway, so this year, I kicked myself because Karen was like, "Oh, were there any panels?" And I'm like, "Nah, not really." And I forgot I'd made notes for myself, paper notes, before I went there. And my wife is very techie, so she put everything on the app. So we were kind of using the app, and I forgot my notes. For those of you of a certain age, there was a program when I was 5 or 6 years old called The New Zoo Review. And it had Henrietta Hippo and Freddie the Frog. There was
and
this
the red
owl
sweater.
and Doug, and I can't think of the lady's name, but Doug and the lady were there with the guy who played Freddie the Frog, and I completely forgot.
You weren't all over them getting autographs?
I would have loved to have taken a picture with them, actually. But they were there. So with the strike, the writer's strike and the actor's strike, Comic-Con put this thing out, and other conventions. There's an expo, a sci-fi or hero expo coming to San Francisco in November. Basically, the rules state that if you're promoting a show or a movie, that's not allowed according to the union rules. You'd be, basically violating the picket line or whatever, crossing the picket line, metaphorically. So what we do in the shadows, you name the movie, they all pulled out. And
now,
so
they couldn't promote a current project?
Correct. But
so if Tina Louise was there promoting Gilligan's Island, that would be allowed.
Or her book, or she was just there taking pictures, or she was just there selling pictures. And there were many, the guy that played Boomer in Battlestar Galactica, Herbert Jeffries, I think is his name, he was there. No Lou Ferrigno this year, unfortunately. Lou was a staple at Comic-Con when I used to go.
Yeah.
But you had some authors and you had some comic book people. The floor itself where they sell everything, this very cool Roosevelt's con exclusive Star Wars shirt. The vendors and stuff were there. We had a friend who wanted to get Tamagotchi, so Jasmine went in the Tamagotchi line to get her a Comic-Con. Sorry, I should have planned this better, but a lot of times, for those of you watching on YouTube, they'll have these little tags that have the Comic-Con logo and the company logo, and it's an exclusive. So Tamagotchi, like I said, Hasbro, the toy companies were there. It was really weird though, because we only got tickets for Thursday and Friday. We didn't score.
I thought it was like Thursday,
nights.
Sunday, no?
Oh, Sunday, you're right. I'm sorry. Thursday, Sunday. And you go there, before you go there, they give you 12 points online. And you can take your 12 tokens. It was almost like a game show. And you could put all your tokens in the Funko line. You could put all your tokens in the Mattel line.
Oh my God.
But I know. Or to get an autograph with What We Do in the Shadows. Some of the cast members, they didn't tell you who was going to be there, but some of the cast was going to be there. They had some wrestling WWE people that were going to be there promoting like a game or something. And so when the strike was announced, they reset everything, and I forgot to go back in. But I'm not a Funko person or a wrestling person per se. So, there was
It's
plenty
just
of
too
other.
complicated. This is what kills me about it. You gotta, get in the lottery to get a chance to get tickets now. And then you may not get, like you guys wound up with Thursday and Sunday. And then at the same time, you're going to try to get a hotel room that's going to be super expensive. And you may not get if you get the hotel room, but then you find out you didn't get the tickets, then you're screwed. Because what I remember trying to do this back in like 2009, 2010 was that none of the hotels were going to refund anybody. Like that was it.
There are so many people looking for rooms, you could probably auction that thing off.
But
Well, you sound more an old fart than I do, but yeah, you're right.
It's just, it takes all the pleasure out of the experience, right? You're struggling to get into the things you want. I remember times standing online for like a couple of hours and not getting into a room. And
that's what they were trying
to avoid.
Right, because I remember standing in line to get a ticket to maybe buy a Galactus for Whiz Kids, and a Solomon Grundy figure, and so to avoid standing in line to later stand in line, they try to do this online. And just because you put your 12 tokens in a given thing, there were a lot of people on Twitter or X that were saying, I didn't get selected for anything. And again, I'm not a big Funko person, but you guys would be shocked how much of the floor was dedicated to Funko.
Wow.
Oh, it's huge. It's but I'm afraid it's kind of like the Beanie Babies of today. It's like
I think, I agree with you,
just
Bob.
throwaway stuff later on. But I mean, I have some Funko, but only it's like, they came out with Speed Racer. I got to get that, or it's like a special one that came out. I don't just go like grab all these Funko, even though there may be some of characters I really like. The best Funko that ever came out was Nightmare Speed Racer.
Ooh.
There was the World's Greatest Race 3-part episode. And at one point, Trixie has a dream because Speed's missing. They don't know if he's dead or alive. And she has a dream where she sees him. He's from his back. And she goes running up there, Speed, Speed. He turns around. He's like a demon. I'm not Speed. And she screams. And he's only on screen for like 5 seconds or something. And they made a Funko figure of him.
That's so funny. I will say Funko has an amazing licensing office because they've licensed the hell out of every property, from Harry Potter to Ronald McDonald, Roddy Piper, from them. It was just ridiculous.
They live.
Sorry, excuse me. Them was, the Ant movie, but it was, everything being said, it was nice to be back. It was cool going around with Jasmine because she'd never been. She's been to some of the smaller conventions. So, the swag table was empty.
Oh, really?
It was the Godzilla Fest, the postcards, the Planet 8 postcards, and the Comic-Con cruise. Yes, they're doing a cruise now, kids. And maybe like, a bookmobile deal or something like that. And that was it. 5 long tables.
Wow.
And the stuff was spread out on the tables. No shirts, no bags. I did take I had a bunch of postcards, and I'd put them around the floor as well as on the swag table. But I had one of our backpacks for Planet 8, and there was this kid dressed as the Mandalorian. And those of you that watch the Rebels cartoon, they had one of those cats.
Oh, yeah.
On his head, part of his hat. He didn't have the helmet on, and I thought it was adorable. And so I asked his mother, "Hey, we do a podcast, Planet 8," and she was like, "Thank you so much." And he was like, "Oh," I'm like, "Enjoy it, kid, because there ain't shit on those tables."
That's all the swag you're getting.
That's all. That's why. You know, my niece is down there. We got to spend time with my niece. We drove, so we got to take the fur babies. They met her puppy. So it was just a puppy love fest. We got
What
to
do you
go
do
to
with the fur
Valley.
babies while you're at the con?
We left them at the house with some pea pads. That
Uh,
kind of sort of worked for some and not for others.
So you were staying at a house down. Oh, you're staying with your niece.
Yeah, well, and that was part of the reason that we're like, okay, we can afford to do this because we're gonna save probably like $2,000 on a hotel.
Mhm.
And the hotels no longer have free shuttles. So with Uber, I guess. Anyway,
Yeah.
went to Bali High, had brunch. If you've never been to Bali High in
It's cool.
San Diego, yeah, the brunch was, just hung out, had a good time. Yeah, if you've never been, prepare to spend thousands of dollars on a hotel and good luck getting tickets. The tickets, my niece had gone the year before and the year before that. So she got to go into the November purchasing online, whatever, in November. And she got, I think Thursday and Sunday, she got to go in February as well. And she was able to get Friday. And even though we were in her group, there was all these funky rules. If you're in a group, you can get their ID numbers and you can buy passes. They used to be, when we'd go to Comic-Con on Sunday, you just get into the kiosk and you bought a 4-day pass, which included preview night for free for next year.
Yep.
Now preview night cost money, and you have to buy all the days separately. The caveat being that if you pod together, your group will get whatever days you get. And so anyway, long story short, she got an extra day than we did. And so she got to, hang out and do her thing without us old farts. But if you get a chance to do it, I highly recommend it. More than Comic-Con, though, if you can go to Ultra Fest next year, hopefully there is one. And Godzilla
I think
Fest this year.
next year we should be able to move it earlier in July, closer to Ultraman Day. Just
That
so
would be
happened that Ultraman Day weekend, Adam, who owns the theaters, was on vacation, so we couldn't do it that week. And then the following weekend was like the very last concerts ever of the Grateful Dead or whatever, whoever's left in the Grateful Dead at Pac-Bell Park, at Oracle Park, where the Giants play. And so he had to be at every show, so couldn't do it that weekend either. So that pushed us back one more weekend and right into San Diego Comic-Con and Barbenheimer and everything else. So if we do it next year, it'll be closer to Ultraman Day, which is the 9th of July.
Well, that'll be cool.
Did either of you guys see Barbie or Oppenheimer yet?
No.
Not yet.
Oh, I did see Oppenheimer.
And
I
what
mean, I would, of the two, that's the one I would go see, but I haven't. But
Yeah, it's good. It's a really, I always complain about movies being too long, and it's a 3-hour movie, but I didn't really feel it though. I mean, the way it was paced, I was like, entertained. Well, entertained is not the right word. I was involved in the story the whole way, right? So I was like constantly paying attention, didn't look at my watch or anything the whole time. And it just kind of like flew by as I beat my microphone to the door.
And the microphone flew by too.
The microphone. Woo!
yeah, see, for me, it's like I'm always hesitant to go to a Christopher Nolan film because I'll sit there
Yeah.
for like 20 minutes and then I'll realize I have no idea what anyone has said so far.
This one did not suffer from like the mumbling or the soundtrack overwhelming the dialogue. Because I know what you mean. I find there's a few things I tend to dislike about Christopher Nolan movies. And one is like, sometimes it's like you can't hear people. And then the other thing is I just find that a lot of times his movies seem like very emotionally detached. Like, there's a coldness to them where it feels like there's not a lot of human emotion there. And I don't think this one really suffers from that, but it's a type of a story where maybe, his type of storytelling, I think, works really well for this.
Well, it's not exactly a lighthearted subject.
No. But it does involve while they're telling the story of how we built the atomic bomb, they're also telling very much from the perspective of Robert Oppenheimer and his life and what was going on with him. And this guy was like a genius, but like all geniuses, he has his like issues and eccentricities. And so it was just, it was interesting. I thought the acting is great. They have a lot of really, really good actors in this. And they're going back and forth into different time periods, but it was never confusing to me at all.
Okay.
So
Cool.
I
plan
maybe
on checking it out.
we'll give it a try, maybe.
Yeah.
The two best memes I saw on Oppenheimer was one with the mushroom cloud, and they had the Three Stooges heads in it, and it said Weisenheimer. And then the other one was it said sequel to Oppenheimer, and it had a picture of Godzilla on there.
Yeah, I saw that one. My birthday is August 6th, and my friend Matt has a very poor sense of humor and says, I need to go see Oppenheimer on August 6th. And I'm like, yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
So, but I'm like you, Bob. Christopher Nolan films, but I do want to check this one out. I've heard good things about the actors. I've heard good things about the story, and
Robert Downey Jr. is in there somewhere, is he?
And they say that you can't even tell. I mean,
it was a surprise, yeah. Because like in the ads, I didn't recognize him as this character. And then once the film got going, I was like, because I knew he was in the movie, because I saw, he's doing publicity for it. It was like, who does he play? And then when I saw it, it was like, oh, that's Robert Downey Jr. He looks so different. But, once he starts talking and everything, it's him.
Yeah.
But looks very different.
Yeah.
So.
I was going to say he shaved his head, but he didn't shave it, but it's like his hair is like really almost like a crew cut, right?
It's very thin. I mean, he just looks like
a comb over, I thought.
It's thin. He looks like an elderly man. He's playing an elderly man, right? So, he very white, thin hair, and he just does not look like himself. So
I have to check it out.
Yeah. I actually might have to check out Barbie now, though. I had no intention before of seeing it, but it seems like it is so controversial amongst some people. And so it's making so much money and everything. It's like, well, maybe I'll see what this is all about.
Sucked in. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
That's it.
Plus, there's nothing else to do out here. It's 115 degrees. So
go see The Flash. Go see the Haunted Mansion. They need the help, not Barbie, this mega million.
I don't need to have a crystal ball to tell me that the Haunted Mansion is a huge turd.
No. I always say, don't let people tell you what you should like or not like.
I'm basing this just on watching the trailer, Larry.
Okay. All right.
I'm just saying.
Debbie and I were going to go out and watch Mission Impossible last weekend. We just didn't get out to it, but it's on the radar.
I loved Mission Impossible. It was a lot of fun. And when I tweeted about it, they sent me a t-shirt. So what can I say?
What?
Yeah. But it was a large.
I love Tom Cruise and Mission Impossible. Please send me a shirt. Nobody sends me anything, especially Strange New Worlds. I get death threats from them.
Oh God. Are we going to talk about Strange New Worlds?
Into that
we'll segue into Strange New Worlds. And let me say, Bob, you are wiser than you know, because I was like, a musical on the Enterprise? And Bob said, it worked for Buffy.
That
And
was
I
one of the
will
most
say-
popular episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayers when they did the musical.
I will say, but this is Strange New Worlds as a whole. If it wasn't the fact that they have legacy characters, Uhura, Nurse Chapel, Dr. Mbenga, I have a lot of trouble with Khan's granddaughter, and if it wasn't Starfleet, and if it wasn't even Star Trek, if it was just like a space, like
So if we took everything out of
If you
it,
took
Yeah.
every single thing
Yeah.
out of it and made it a
If you took
completely
everything
different show,
and you
then it
made-
might be okay.
yeah, they sing, the songs are good songs. I can't think of the actor's name who plays Spock. He's Gregory Peck's grandson,
Ethan Peck.
Ethan Peck, yeah.
Ethan Peck. When he initially played Spock in Discovery and then part of the first season of Strange New Worlds, I was like, okay, I kind of see what he's trying to do. And then the second season, and let me say this too before I get back into the musical. I talked to Lord Bloodraw offline,
Our good friend.
and I'm like, LBR, what the hell are they doing? Strange New Worlds, because he's an old school Trekkie, the original series, and just
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm loving the second season. And I'm like, oh, come on. You're pulling my leg. That's like Bob and Karen saying they've reconsidered Batman versus Superman. But he was serious. And I shared this with Karen, and Karen's like,
I know.
no way.
It didn't make any sense. It still doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
But
Debbie and I have been watching it. We've been enjoying it. It's just like, but I'm not the deep dive down the rabbit hole Trekkie fan that you guys are. So, I like the original series and Next Generation. And after that, it's kind of whatever. But I
That
enjoy
is true.
Discovery and I enjoy Strange New Worlds. And yeah, I mean, okay, they're adding some humor to it and things, but I mean, Larry and I were talking. Look at the original series. It's like, Shore Leave, Trouble with Tribbles,
yeah, but
Way
none
to
of those
Eden,
violated the
I
character.
Mud. I mean, there were some pretty, Spock's Brain. I mean, there were some pretty silly episodes on there.
But the characters still remained the characters. I mean, the things they're doing with the characters in Strange New Worlds, they're almost. I mean, Spock is like unrecognizable in this show.
Correct.
Well, I mean, I will say the one thing is, like, if you watch the original pilot for Star Trek,
A failed
The
pilot.
Cage, and there's one scene, and it
Where
even
he
showed up
smiles.
again. What's that?
Yeah, there's one scene where he
And-
smiles.
Yeah, he smiles. He's like looking at a flower or something. He smiles. And I think they took that and they, in order to try to explain that within the canon
It's
of the series,
stupid.
then suddenly he's trying to express his emotions and he's trying to come to terms with them. So,
It's
but
idiotic
that
because
last episode before the musical one, the crossover with Lower Decks, I thought it was funny because he'd smile, and it's just the way he'd smile was so creepy that you just had to laugh, and it's like, and it was freaking out the guy from I don't know what, I can't remember the guy's name from Lower Decks, but the guy who played Huey in The Boys.
the problem is they're basing this whole characterization of Spock on the Cage, which was one, a failed pilot, two, in the Cage, they hadn't finalized Spock's character yet. So actually the unemotional character was number one, the way that they had initially conceptualized the characters. Number one was going to be the unemotional, cool, character that was going to be on the show. And Spock was actually going to be, I think initially they had him as a Martian, but he was going to be more emotional. He was going to have, it's just like how he gets out of the transporter room and he goes, "The women," and he shouts. So he wasn't, clearly in that, he was not the Spock that we had in the TV series. So they're using something that has no bearing on the character as we knew it, in
But
the
it
show.
does exist, and I think they're just kind of going overboard trying to
Yeah, they're
explain
because they want to play with the character, but they're violating what we know about the character. And they're also kind of demeaning him because all the time he's doing stuff and they're having characters say, you know, oh, don't you know how, you know, people don't like that, or you shouldn't do that, or everybody's talking down to him all the time. It's just, I don't know. For me, I don't like it, obviously. I think it's a bad direction. And then all the stuff with Chapel, now they have a relationship and all this stuff is like, come on now. That clearly was not the intent in the original series. The intent in the original series was that it was unrequited love. She was in love with him. He was not interested, you know, but whatever. They're just, yeah, see, I can't talk about it. I'll just keep going. So I might as well stop there. But yeah, I haven't seen the musical one yet. And a part of me says, just stop watching. It's just upsetting you. Just stop watching the show.
It's on the docket after this episode. I'm going to go watch it.
Oh, Lord.
Maybe what I'll do too is I'll put on closed captioning so we can sing along with all the songs.
I won't spoil the episode, but if you do sing along, you're going to help them.
Really?
Oh, God.
I'll leave it at that.
So did you enjoyed the songs?
I enjoyed the songs. I need to rewatch it with like a fresh pair of eyes because Lord Bloodron, my friend Matt, were like, oh no, this and that one. And I'm like, you know, the whole argument about it was like a 5-second smile. And, you know, the women. It was an homage. Very few people know this, that John Belushi gave Leonard Nimoy in the Blues Brothers when he's like, the women, how much for the women? Just kidding.
I was going to say, I don't think that's true.
You know, and I was talking with Bob before we started recording tonight, and I've talked to Karen a number of occasions that, you know, maybe, and I was joking around, I'm that old fart watching you. You can't. Dr. Mabenga would never kill Klingons. What are you doing?
Oh, don't get me started on that one.
Well,
that's a whole, well, you know, we had a long conversation
we
about
had
this via text. So
yeah, a lot of texting.
It's yeah, that episode has bothered me more than any other episode so far.
Well, now where did Mabenga originate? Because he was in a TV show.
Yeah, he was in 2 episodes of the original series.
Correct. And he knew a lot about Vulcan physiology and anatomy. Spock had gotten stabbed or shot. No, he got stabbed, and he lost a lot of blood in this episode. And he put himself into like a Vulcan coma, and was trying to come out. And Mabenga was like slapping the heck out of him.
Yeah. Okay.
And he's okay. That's enough, doctor. Yeah, we should probably move on. There's
yeah.
I was telling Larry before we started, I haven't. I'm going to watch it when we're done here, but it would definitely. I'm going to be very depressed and sad if they miss the opportunity to have Spock sing the Ballad of Bilbo Baggins.
And I told Bob I can neither confirm nor deny.
Well,
that song will be.
I'm thinking you may be sad then, because. But just go on YouTube. It's there. You can just watch it. It's fine.
Oh no, I post it every once in a while, especially for my friend Aaron Cooper. We would just like, oh, it's about time to post the Ballad of Bilbo Baggins.
Bob just wants Peck to Ethan Peck to sing it. That's all.
We actually need him to sing. What is it? Bitter Dregs. Oh, bitter dregs.
Yeah, we'll move on. I don't know if I'll well, next week is the finale, and just messing with canon, you know, I think that's
the Gorn.
My biggest, I didn't.
Gorn is really just the alien now, so it's
Well, we don't know. They haven't really shown him yet.
Oh well, they gestate inside people and all this other stuff. So.
I will say there's this moment, and once you guys, if you watch the musical episode, I'll share with you the moment where I was kind of like, okay, that was kind of cool. It wasn't song, it was just a discussion between these characters, and it was kind of like, okay.
That's probably the issue is that there's potential, right? So you see the potential of the show, and it's frustrating because it could be so much more.
You know,
But-
and oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, and that's just the thing. But I think they have inherent limitations by setting it up as this prequel. And, you know, they bring on these characters, the obsession with like messing around with legacy characters all the time. Like, you know that nothing is going to happen to Spock or Uhura or Kirk, or, you know, and then there's certain things you can't do with them because, or you shouldn't. Apparently you
shouldn't.
can.
They do,
Yeah.
but they shouldn't.
So I don't know. I would much rather see a series set, you know, in the future of Star Trek, or what should be the present, which would be where we were with Picard season 3, right? So pick up after that, you know.
I was going to say, and to be fair, Picard season 1 and 2 were sincere shitburgers.
Oh yeah.
So season 3, it's like, so who knows? Strange New World season 3? I don't know.
I don't know. I just think it would be nice to have characters where we don't know like what their future is going to be. We don't know what's going to happen next.
This was the beauty of Deep Space Nine.
Well, yeah, any of those series, right? Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, even Voyager, which I didn't really like that much, but they were wide open. You could write anything because they weren't prequels.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys though something. If there, well, okay, so there is a Star Trek musical episode. Besides humans and Vulcans, is there any other life form, Gorn, android, or otherwise, that you'd like to see sing and do a little dance? Of course, Karen, none, because she just doesn't.
I think the Gorn could pull off like a pirate shanty. I think that would be good.
Well, the only thing that might be appropriate is Klingon opera, right? So.
I will take this opportunity to say that you will both be deeply disappointed. No, just kidding. Just kidding. No spoilers. No spoilers. Okay, so Bob and I was very pleased when Bob told me this, have seen the new Flash movie, which
yes, we did actually watch it.
Is funny because we just did a time travel episode with different forms of time travel, and so this movie kind of plays into that. Karen hasn't seen it, so we're not going to take a deep dive into this film. I thought it was fun. It was a good popcorn movie.
Yeah, I mean, Karen can go la 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 like listen, but no, I think, like I said before the show, I mean, it was a good movie. I enjoyed it, but they did try very hard. And I know Flashpoint existed like a long time ago, but they did try very hard to be like Spider-Man No Way Home, and just bringing certain characters together, and playing with the timeline where you've got, you think you're going to get Batfleck, and you get the Michael Keaton Batman or whatever, which was very cool to see, I will say.
And the shame of it is that the movie didn't do well, so there will not be another Michael Keaton Batman movie. I guess the deal was, this does great, we're going to take Michael Keaton and do some more Batman films, and now was it a rumor?
You never know. Maybe it'll catch on in China or somewhere and make a bunch of money, and they'll change their mind. But
hasn't happened yet, and
that's how Pacific Rim got a sequel.
I hear they're doing a third one. It's going to be a musical. So,
well, they did a couple animated series on Netflix.
You're right. They
Pacific
did.
Rim
It's called. There's a Gamera animated series.
Gamera's coming up, like a 6-part series.
Bob and Walker, I saw that first Godzilla animated series on Netflix, and I fell asleep.
Oh no, I mean, yeah, there's 3 movies, and then there's the There's the series. And yeah, they all suck. So and this comes from a diehard Godzilla fan. I used to think I'd be a completist, but I'm not going to, if any of those come out on video, I will not own them. But yeah, I mean, in the third movie, Godzilla fights Ghidorah, which is Ghidorah's like this big, like, lightning bolt thing. And I was on the phone I was texting with Kevin. And at one point I go, I'm watching the third Godzilla film. And Godzilla and Ghidorah have been fighting for about 10 minutes now. And neither one has moved on the screen. And that kind of sums up all three movies. So it's this, like, nothing. Godzilla's a giant plant version of Godzilla. And he's just planted in one spot. He never moves, never does anything. But enough of those.
Speaking of never moving, we're going to kind of segue into congressional hearings. Believe it or not, Karen shared this with me, and those of you watching our YouTube channel can see Karen's awesome t-shirt.
My UFO t-shirt, but it's the Jerry Anderson TV show UFO.
Which I'm very jealous of. Although I do have a cavity color creature from the Black Lagoon shirt.
That is awesome.
Tie-dyed, but
hey, who's to say that Jerry Anderson didn't reverse engineer some of the actual UFOs that crashed in Roswell and elsewhere?
Oh my God.
You never know.
But Fox Mulder would be having a heyday if he were an actual person living today, because I was shocked and surprised and happy to hear that there was an actual whistleblower I think it was with the Air Force, right, Karen?
Well, so there were three different guys, and I was going to.
I only saw one testifying on that.
I was going to pull this up to make sure that I got everybody's names right. The whistleblower was named Dave Grush, and so Dave Grush had worked in different intelligence agencies within. Oh gosh, my computer's being cuckoo. Within the U.S. Government. So I think he might have been in the, what is it? The DIA, something like that. And he is the whistleblower. And I'll be honest with you, he's the one. Let's see, the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. And yes, he was an intelligence officer in the Air Force. The other two gentlemen were both naval aviators. There was, let's see, Ryan Graves and David Fravor. Now, for me, well, I've been interested in this topic for a very long time. And not necessarily convinced that the extraterrestrial theory is the answer to everything. Grush is interesting in the sense that he claims he's seen all these documents that point to crash retrieval programs, what he says is non-human biologics and all this stuff. But again, it's sort of like, okay, where's the evidence, right? He doesn't have anything to show necessarily, although it's possible that he doesn't want to put forth anything that is top secret in front of the public, right? What I think is more interesting is the two pilots, the two aviators, who are talking about their encounters, the things they've been seeing when they've flown. We've seen releases from the government of these things that pilots have been encountering that, a lot of people want to dismiss as drones, but some of the things these things are doing, if they're drones that the US can't create. Dave Fravor described one that came from space, essentially, some object they encountered that dropped down from 80,000 feet, sat still for 3 hours with, wind currents and all kinds of things flying around it. And then, zoomed around and messed with the planes and then zoomed back up into outer space. And we have no technology to do the things that he described. So whatever's going on, there's something going on. Whether it's an earthly foreign government or whether it's some other extraterrestrial, ultra-dimensional. I always like to say, if you haven't read John Keel or Jacques Vallée, those are two authors I highly recommend because of their theories about all this stuff. But it's interesting that it finally made its way to Congress, such a very public hearing and discussion with these gentlemen.
Well,
I
here's
was
the
kind of
thing.
surprised about that. And let's point out, they're not UFOs anymore, right? They're like
UAPs.
UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena or something.
They either call them unidentified aerial phenomenon or unidentified. It's not autonomous. It's oh gosh, I forget. So there's
Unidentified, non-existent thingies.
yeah. So yeah, they want to use that new term, but I mean it's basically still UFOs.
There's schwas, there's grays. You talk to Barney and Betty Hill, first people to be documented abduction. If you could talk to cows, you'd hear about cattle prods and hoobajubes and things of that nature. This is a public hearing. I'm sure there's been a lot of closed door hearings on this. Like Karen said, this thing drops 80,000 feet. Come on, people. Come on. The Russians. Please.
Well, we should
Betty
be really
and-
worried if either the Chinese or the Russians have technology like that.
Had a balloon flying over Alaska. Betty and Barney Hill. Google it.
You know, I have to say I'm very skeptical about abduction cases. I'm
You know what? And the other thing, look at the Mothman.
okay. Mothman is a whole other story. And
I think
you know, I think that's when you start getting into perceiving this as not just about UFOs, but a much larger phenomenon that messes with people's perceptions. And I think there could be a lot of different things going on here that we just don't understand.
I won't mention Sasquatch then, or we'll put it off on.
So now I did catch something on, is kind of one of those little sub channels. Like out here, it's like 66.6 or something, where it was like a 2-hour interview with the main guy that was talking, not the pilots, but what you said, Rush. There's like a 2-hour interview on TV with him where they go into every little detail of everything he says he saw or encountered or heard or whatever. And, you know, it all sounds really interesting. And he just kind of keeps thinking, oh, you know, this guy could be full of crap, or maybe some of it was happening. But yeah, but then to see him probably 6 or 8 months later in front of Congress, then it's like, oh, okay, well, maybe there's something to it. Maybe there's something going on. But I mean, I do definitely believe in, you know, extraterrestrials and intelligent life out in the universe somewhere, because God didn't put all them stars and planets up there just to entertain us at night. There's got to be something out there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure the NSA is listening into the podcast, so we're not going to be talking about this much longer. If they discover where Planet 8 is, we're in a lot of trouble. So
Well,
I think we're hidden away enough. They're not gonna find us.
I still have some difficulty thinking that, well, one, okay, you have the speed of light. It's very difficult to imagine being able to travel past the speed of light. So it's going to be very hard for anybody to actually get here from another planet.
who has our DNA and the makeup of our body? Yes.
Well, no, just
I
the
agree.
technology. I mean, I'm not talking about biological. I'm just talking about being able to make a device, right? A spaceship that can get here.
Okay.
But let's say, they figure out some sort of way to bend space or whatever, and they can travel quickly, right? Because we don't know everything. You know, we think things are impossible and then we find a way somehow. So they say they are able to travel here. Okay. Then I'm sort of with our good friend, our idol, William Shatner, who just, I read an article yesterday where they asked him about this. And he essentially said, why would they come here? Why would they come here? And then hide and play peekaboo with us, or also, why would they come here and then just want to stick things in our hoopajube, right? So it doesn't make a lot of, it's a big distance to travel. It's a lot of energy to spend. It's a lot of this, that, and the other. And then they just kind of fiddle around. I'm more inclined to think that these are the same entities or intelligence that has been messing with us through all of history, whether they come to us as extraterrestrials or as fairies or spirits or whatever, right? Just there's some sort of intelligence that manifests itself in different ways. And
I think it's very unsettling to believe that there's something that exists that is smarter than we are, faster than we are, name it. What kind of technology does it take to drop 80,000 feet from, not the sky, from space? And then against all the weather, and just sit there for a couple of hours and then zigzag and play around. Why did they zigzag and play around? Why do kids do donuts these days in streets? I don't know.
yeah,
They're wasting $80,000 sports cars, maybe more with all the, anyway.
it's hard for us
Those
to
may
assign,
be like intergalactic sports cars.
right?
They're just
How-
having a sideshow.
The kids got the ship and let's go to Earth and mess with them.
It's hard to say. It could be a whole bunch of different things going on, and we just can't. Our perceptions, our intelligence, we can't understand it. Right?
I think that's a big part of it is our perception. What we perceive. Even on Earth, the diversity we have between cultures. We all bleed blood, but we eat different foods. We have different ways of living and existing, and so I don't know. But I do know this: that on Planet 8, we don't have a president. We don't have a king. We have the Shat. And when the Shat speaks, we listen. So,
But then again, there's also he who is Carl Sagan. And
there you
Carl
go.
Sagan definitely claimed that there were intelligent beings out there in the universe.
This is true.
They may not be visiting us. They maybe couldn't care less. Maybe they're so much smarter than we are that it's like, why bother, checking these people out? We already know all that stuff. Or we already did all that thousands of years ago. We've evolved past that. Why go and look at it? But yeah, like I say, I'm sure there's intelligent life out there somewhere.
Without a doubt, whether it's this dimension or universe or time period or all that stuff.
Well, it's interesting to see these congressional hearings, and you could look at them you could look at them a lot of different ways. You could either say, oh, this topic is finally getting the attention it deserves, or you could say our government has gotten so dumbed down that we are now having congressional hearings about these things. It all depends on your take on the matter.
Well, it depends on the makeup of Congress as well. We've got all these old people in Congress that
that's true.
Should have been gone, should have retired like decades ago. But then you have a lot of up and coming younger generations in Congress who grew up on Star Trek and whatever. And, maybe they're like, hey, let's check this thing out. Let's see if Area 51, if there's anything really out there.
This is true.
Yeah, well, I certainly wouldn't have imagined it when I was a kid in the 70s and we were having all these UFO flaps all the time and hearing about it. on the radio. There used to be a lot of like radio shows that would cover all this stuff, like pre Art Bell Coast to Coast. There were other radio shows that would cover the UFO stuff, and it seemed like every week somewhere in the country there was some UFO sighting, and everybody was very dismissive. Everybody in authority tended to be, although like Jimmy Carter saw a UFO.
There still is, and they moved it from the radio to YouTube. So if you go on YouTube, make sure you go to Planet 8's YouTube channel first, and you can go look at all the other.
Go look at Coast to Coast. I haven't actually listened to that in ages. But
Well,
so
John Lennon claimed to have seen a UFO over New York.
There's UFOs over New York, and I'm not too surprised.
That's right.
Mhm.
Well, my friends, a little bit of sad news. The passing of Paul Rubens happened, famously playing Pee Wee Herman, the age of 70. And I didn't pull it up, but he wrote this message to the fans, basically thanking them and apologizing, not talking about his battle with cancer, and just he enjoyed making art for us. So you guys want to speak to that?
Well, I don't know. Does anyone have any
Oh yeah.
Pee Wee memories?
I just remember Pee Wee's Playhouse and how much, and I guess I was in college, because I remember I would watch Pee Wee's Playhouse. I had a job in college the year, I guess, that Pee Wee's Playhouse came out, working for a veterinarian. And so I would watch that show before I would go into the vet sometimes. I just remember it was just so like creative and goofy and weird, but positive. Like he could be like the weirdest kid, like grown-up kid, but so like positive about everything. And it was just a lot of fun, you never knew what was going to be on the show, but yeah, it was just neat. I really, really enjoyed watching it. And I regret that I had the opportunity one time to go to LA and see him live, and something happened and I didn't get to go. I really wish I'd been able to do that, but he just seemed like a really, funny, crazy kind of guy. And yeah, I enjoyed seeing him do Pee Wee, but some of the other appearances he made in other shows too, yeah, it's just sad. It's one of those things like you always think about, different characters that people portrayed and sort of how they touched you when you were younger. And so sorry to see him pass.
I mean, he would show up in other things. I mean, he was like the Penguin's father in the second Michael Keaton Batman movie. Mm-hmm. And he was a vampire in the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie. Mm-hmm. And he also turned back up as Oswald Cobblepot's father in the Gotham series that was on the WB. And
it was in a Cheech and Chong movie early on.
Yeah. So he did it quite a bit. I was at a Giants game one time, way back in Candlestick Park. And between innings, they started playing tequila. And some guy on the upper deck got up and did the entire Pee Wee dance while they were playing tequila. And then a couple of security guys came and escorted him out.
Oh,
why was he doing it on the railing or something?
So the next morning in the paper I read, that was Paul Rubin. He was at the Giants game. Wow. He got up and did the dance. And then once everybody recognized him, they kind of like took him off and, put him up in one of the suites or whatever, so he wouldn't get bothered. Right. But yeah, he was full bore Pee Wee dance up there to tequila. So, and then the other memory I have, which doesn't totally involve Paul Rubin, but when we did our first Godzilla Fest, this one guy comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, I had to come up to this thing because I made the Godzilla and Ghidorah suits that were in Pee Wee's Big Adventure." He goes, "I made those." It turns out it was Cleve Hall.
Mm.
And he would go on to be the Monster Man on Sci-Fi and all that. Unfortunately, passed away a few years ago. But yeah, we kind of became friends there. We stayed in touch, over the years. And he came out to some of our other Godzilla shows, or I'd see him down there. But yeah, that all started with him bragging that he made the suits for Pee Wee's Big Adventure.
That is cool. Let us not forget Mystery Men.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, he played the Spleen, one of my favorite characters. So if you've never seen the movie, you don't have to. Just Google the Spleen, and you'll see some of the great performance in that film.
Wow. Yeah, I haven't thought of that in a long time.
Yeah, I posted on online on social media. There was this short that they did with Pee Wee Herman and Saturday Night Live. I can't think of the comedian's name.
I saw that. That was hilarious.
Oh, it was just so funny. And it's an older Paul Rubens too. I mean, he was still having fun with the character, and it was great. He will be missed.
Yeah.
Sure. There's no one else like Pee Wee Herman out there. So
And that may be a good thing. But
this is the part of the show. We've gone a little long today. Feel free to comment on any and all of the things we discussed, but our censor sweeps. If you guys don't mind, I'm going to start off. I did watch Secret Invasion, and don't bother.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Wow. It was surprisingly dull, and yeah, it's like, what really came of it? I don't know. Yeah.
There's nothing really that I'm watching now, so I plan on catching up on some of my reading. Will Viharo came out with a book, his memoir, and I started reading it. It's entertaining so far. I really
imagine.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. And the fun thing is, not that I'm a part of his life, but we spent some time in Thrillville, and he talks about the Thrillville experience and the whole concept and the idea and the execution of the idea at the Parkway, and meeting Monica, and yours truly is actually mentioned in the book, and I was happily humbled that I got a little piece in the book. I inherited it's not here, but the Thrillville Tiki Bar.
Did that survive the fire?
It did. It was in the garage. So
that's
hallelujah.
I actually have the Magic Tiki.
Oh, nice.
That they used to play like a bongo drum. He'd play like a bongo drum, and then Monica would
spin the wheel,
psychically figure out what the winning tickets were.
Oh.
Yeah, I got that. When they left, they went to Seattle. They gave me that and a cart and like a partition that they had up behind the tiki bar, and a couple other things. So they kind of kicked off the tiki patio here by giving me that stuff.
Nice.
So
but yeah, so I plan on finishing that book. Nothing on TV. There's Oppenheimer. I do want to go see Oppenheimer. And I do want to see the Haunted Mansion. And with all the buzz around Barbie, probably. I
don't forget Mission Impossible.
Man, I don't know. Yours truly, and I got to thank Bob, because I was going to the con, and I know Super 7, excuse me, sorry, they have a shop in San Francisco, they have a shop in San Diego, and they have a presence online. And they had a booth in the San Diego Convention Center, and they also had a little boutique outside in downtown San Diego, because they close off like all these streets. It's a huge festival outside. And it was all G.I. Joe and Cobra Commander stuff in the shop. But Bob turned me on to this. Reach around here. For those of you watching on YouTube, this is a huge Godzilla figure.
Oh, wow.
Ultimates. And Bob, I have yours ready to give to you as soon as we have lunch next week.
I am ready to receive.
That logo looks like the Marvel Comics logo.
Exactly. It is
Marvel Comics logo, yeah, but it's the based on the IDW comics.
It's the IDW
Dark Horse
comics.
comic.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Let me put this away.
Some of which Keith Aiken, my partner on Sci-Fi Japan, inked.
Nice.
Yeah,
Need to get some of that original artwork and hang up in the
he's
monster.
got some.
garage.
I
Nice.
do have and when we did Ultrafest, we were going to have a bunch of art up, but no one stepped up with art. So I had to go in my dungeon and dig out a bunch of posters, get them framed and put them up. And one of the things I found was a comic book page that was never a comic book. It was basically Ron Lim had drawn Ultraman basically firing his ray at the Balton alien, and Keith inked it.
Nice.
It's really nice. I had it displayed there at Ultrafest, but
That is nice.
yeah, no, Keith. In fact, Keith, somebody brought the old Godzilla versus Charles Barkley comic
Ah,
to the show to have Keith sign it because he did the inks on that issue.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is cool. This I went ahead and sent to Karen. I picked one of these up, and she's
oh,
probably like, "What the hell did he get this
like,
for?"
you son of a bitch. I was going to show that on my.
Oh, so sorry. Isn't that
Yes,
cool?
it's a Rodan figure.
And what
from
does it say
Super
on the
7.
back?
It says on the back, no batteries, no electricity. Move his wings, make him fly. His beak opens and closes.
Now Bob may have the original. from
No,
back
I
in the
actually
70s.
I sold the original. I had it,
Oh,
and I had the original Shogun Warrior Godzilla.
oh,
I sold them off at one point. Got a lot of money, but yeah,
I bet you did.
I ended up buying a Shogun Warrior Godzilla at the San Jose Toy Show to replace the one so I do still have one, but I have yet. I looked on eBay like the other day for Rodan, and they were going for anywhere from $5,000 to $8,000. It was like, yeah, I guess I won't own a Rodan. But
So is this a remake of that Shogun Warriors figure?
that
Yeah.
one you have? Yes, but it's much smaller.
Much smaller.
Much smaller. This thing was like huge.
Ooh,
But they released the Shogun Godzilla in this size, and they got a
Hmm.
smog monster and some stuff that
that's cool.
they put out. Yeah. Your mission commander likes to go to thrift stores. I was out thrifting and came across this cool album called Hot Sauce. The Jan Davis guitar. I've never heard of this person, but I loved that artwork on that album.
Have you listened to it yet?
I have not. Pete has my record player down in San Jose, so I need to,
Okay.
I mean down on planet 14. So I need to-
You're going to have to tell us what it sounds like.
and then I got Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey Circus Band.
Oh my God.
This is circus music. I'm like, okay. For Barnum and Bailey, Entry of the Gladiators, Sunnyland Waltzes, The Storming of El Caney, World. I'll let you guys know what it sounds like.
I know, that's all I hear in my head.
I know. And then my dear Walker sent a birthday gift, number of birthday gifts. I'm tempted to open here and now.
I just assumed you would have opened them immediately. So I am shocked that you are waiting till your birthday.
I opened the smallest one and I was like, it's brilliant. It's a little like notebook, Star Trek notebook, and it has phaser and a communicator drawing in it, and it's pretty cool. But I'm going to hold off on these.
Okay.
I will say I'm a huge fan of Roosevelt's RSVLTS online. They just dropped their Ultraman shirts today. Jasmine got one for me. It won't be here in time for the birthday.
I
but
did not even know that it was there. I got the Rain Spooner Ultraman shirt, but
oh, cool. They do these drops and it's just like, well, I signed up for the alert. That's how I knew. So I'll have a shirt next year for Ultrafest.
I may have to go look for one unless they're sold out already.
I don't know. Go check and see. The larger sizes and the smaller sizes sell fast, but the mediums and larges, I think they make more.
Yeah,
So
medium, but
I'll send you the link.
yeah, link me.
Yeah. I put it on Facebook too, but they're gonna have a Godzilla drop in another week or two. So if you're a Godzilla fan,
I found, and I'm
Yeah.
sure this is a bootleg shirt, but you know, it has not stopped me before.
yeah.
It's like just when you think you have all the shirts you need, and then suddenly someone dropped one, and it was a button down, nice shirt that had like the Japanese art type of wave. And next to this wave, or in this wave, was Gamera. It's like I've seen tons of Godzilla shirts. Ultraman shirts are starting to leak out. But Gamera?
Hmm.
I had to get that. So that's on order.
There you go. It's just so hard to find my size when I see something like this. I'm like, gotta get it.
Well, it's funny because for Ultrafest, Rain Spooner sent me a Ultraman shirt so I could wear it and show it off and plug them. And they also got one for Kevin. Kevin said he needed a 3X. And they go, well, yeah, we only make up to 2X. So he's like, okay, I just won't button it. So I got these in the mail and I had my medium, and they somehow came up with a 3X. I don't know if they like made it special for him.
They go up to
But-
3X. I've looked at Rain Spooner. They've done some stuff in the past for Disney. It's 3X.
Interesting.
So you lucked
Because
out.
they originally told me, oh, we only go to 2X. And then suddenly there was a 3X shirt in the mail. So
Yeah, that's cool. Well, so that's all that I have. Karen, did you have something you wanted to share with us besides Rodan?
I don't have any more objects to share.
Watching or reading anything? Or
Oh yeah, always. So besides, tearing my hair out over Strange New Worlds, I started a rewatch of a show on Netflix called Ragnarok. And so I had watched this show back in, I think, 2021. So it's made it's Norwegian.
and Thor is not in it.
And Thor is in it.
Oh,
It's
not
sort
the
of,
Thor we all know and
well,
love.
not the Marvel Thor. So it's sort of it's very much sort of like a young adult CW kind of drama, where this mom and her two teenage boys moved to this town in Norway. They're Norwegian, so they moved to this town that's like a mining town, and the family, the Urals, who own the mining company, they're like super rich, and so everybody kind of, gives into whatever the Urals want. But very quickly, the oldest son, Magne, starts to realize that something is amiss, and then there's this whole supernatural element to it, where essentially what winds up happening over time is the gods and the giants are coming back. And so they're sort of reincarnated in these different people in the town. So it's a lot of fun. But I started rewatching it because they had 2 seasons, which I saw like in 2021 and kind of forgot about it. And then I saw on Netflix that they were going to have a 3rd season coming up here soon. So I was like, oh, I don't really remember everything. So there's only like, I think 8 episodes a season. So it's pretty easy to burn through. So I started watching it again.
Nice.
And it's a lot of fun. And I'm still watching The Bear on Hulu, which is not a genre show, but is sort of a comedy drama.
Doesn't take place in a gay bar either.
And it doesn't take place in a gay bar. It's not the bear or the stud. It's the, what is it? No, it's this guy who's a chef who comes back to Chicago after his brother dies, and he takes over their sandwich shop. And then over the course of time, sort of what happens with him trying to run the shop, and he has a lot of sort of issues, family issues. I don't know, it's entertaining, but it at times is kind of stressful show to watch. So
Sounds like something Jasmine would watch.
you should have her check out a couple of episodes. Although I will say in the second season, there was an episode that was a flashback to a family Christmas that was really difficult to watch because the mother is like completely nuts. So, and it was very stressful. So it was like, after watching it, kind of just sat there and went, ah. So, but it's
I'll check it out.
entertaining. It's entertaining.
Cool. Chief,
Yes.
what do you got?
Well, I've already talked about Ultra Fest and Godzilla Fest, and we'll see everybody out there. But at Ultra Fest, of course, I always buy stuff off my friend Kevin, who we refer to as my pusher. And I will see if I can. Now, it's pretty heavy. Hold on, I got to get this with two hands.
Okay, be careful.
Don't drop it.
Don't fall.
He had this statue of
Oh,
Shiraz,
wow.
who was basically A.G. Tsuburaya had, when he made Ultraman, he went back to Toho and stole the Godzilla suit that was in like Monster Zero, and he put a fin on it so you couldn't tell it was Godzilla. But, you know, of course, he's got all the Godzilla features. And, you know, of course, halfway through the battle, Ultraman rips the fin off. And then, of course, it's basically Ultraman versus Godzilla. They just don't say, oh, that's Godzilla. Yeah.
Yeah.
So but
Convenient.
this is a really cool statue. If you're watching on YouTube, it's a very big statue,
It most certainly is.
which is
That's
always very
nice.
cool. And then
But wait, there's more.
they put that down without like
You
dropping
order
it,
now.
slapping it on the floor.
No wonder your hip hurts.
I saw this online and I got it through Amazon, and I thought, this is so cool that someone would actually make a nice thick book, hardcover, all on the making of The Last Dinosaur,
Oh,
which we covered in our TV movie episode. This was a TV movie made back in the 70s. It was a co-production between Rankin Bass and Tsuburaya Productions that made Ultraman, who we just talked about.
The
So I
title
bought
looks,
this, and I thought, what's that?
I was going to say, is it supposed to look like the
It's like a
Jurassic
Park
Park?
ripoff.
Okay, I thought I was confused. Okay.
But I skimmed through like the first 30 pages or so. And this author, who is B. Harrison Smith, who's actually kind of a hack movie director. I think he did like Slumber Party Massacre and things like that. He writes this book, and you would think that the very first fact you would know about The Last Dinosaur is the fact that it was a co-production between Rankin Bass and Tsuburaya.
Mm-hmm.
Stated in this book, he states that it's a co-production between Rankin Bass and Toho.
Send the
If
book
you can't
back.
get that fact right. If you get that fact that wrong, well, you know, forget
There
it.
you go.
I'm not going to read the rest. It's trash. It's nothing. So I did buy it, but who needs it, right? So cleansing my palate, I was able to get an advanced press copy of the translation of novels by Shigeru Kayama. And this was translated by Jeffrey Engels. And it is basically the translation of the original novels for Godzilla and Godzilla Raids Again, first two
Wow.
Godzilla films. And I've read, I'm kind of into about, 40 pages into it, loving every second of it. Of course,
Nice.
it's not exactly the story as we saw it on film, either in the American or Japanese version, but it is the basically a novel that came from it. And so far, so good. I had Ultrafest and my real job. I had all these installs I had to do this week and things. So I haven't had time to really sit down and get into it. But yeah, once I start reading it, I'm sure I will not be able to put it down. And Keith and I are going to interview him shortly. So I do need to finish that book.
Nice.
We'll be interviewing him for Sci-Fi Japan. Most likely we'll do a video of it, like a Zoom video. So it'll be available online at some point. But
Very cool.
But yeah, I was very surprised that came out. I think it comes out like in October. So this was like an advanced copy. So the publicist was very excited that we were doing Godzilla Fest. So she's going to send us like probably half a dozen copies to give out as prizes.
Cool.
And like I say, she sent me an advanced copy just so I could see what the heck it was.
Very nice.
Not just
Hey, the last dinosaur book, did that come out recently, or has that been
yeah,
out for
it's a new
while?
book.
I would email the author and just say, hey, just an FYI, maybe in reprints they can fix it.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I could read the rest of it or not. But if you can't get that part right, then
I know.
What other fantasies does he have in this book?
Yeah.
So it's my strange new worlds at this point. I can't even look at it. So I did, somebody posted on Facebook, oh, my good friend just wrote this book and it's available. Here's the link and blah, blah, blah. And I just replied, yeah, this movie was a co-production with Rankin Bass and Subraya and not Toho, as the author claims. I just left that there. So
hopefully they change it.
I haven't seen any replies, although the guy might have just blocked me, so I'll never see the replies. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it is what it is.
I mean, as far as I can tell, I don't think this guy has a Facebook page, but yeah, if he did, I could just go on there and I could friend him just so I could go on there and say, you hack. But
that's funny.
But yeah, no, I mean, like I say, I was looking forward to the book because I thought, oh, this is great that someone would actually write a whole book on the last dinosaur. I mean,
and admittedly, there's not a lot of stuff out there.
Who would have thought
about the last dinosaur? So
yeah.
That's too bad.
Like if somebody came out with a book on the Trilogy of Terror or something like that, it's like something obscure, and you think, God, I would love to read that book.
I know,
or not,
I know.
But
sorry, Chief.
But as far as what are we watching these days? We're watching and enjoying Strange New Worlds, and we just got done with Walking Dead: Dead City, which has been renewed for a second season, which is good because
catch up on that.
It would be terrible to end the way that this first season ended. And since there's really not a lot of stuff coming up at the moment, we have cracked open my DVD box set of Crime Story from the 80s. This was the Dennis Farina series where he plays Mike Torello, and he's part of the police department there in Chicago. He's like in the major crimes unit, and they go after all these, but it takes place in 1963. So the whole aesthetic of it, the music, the bars they hang out in, the fashions they wear, it's all from like 1963. And just, I kind of like that whole aesthetic. So watching the series and the way it unfolds, it's very cool.
Nice.
And of course, everybody smokes everywhere like Mad Men and all that. So
let me know how that is. I haven't seen that
I haven't seen it since it was originally on. And it's like when the DVD set came out, I'm like, oh, I'm going to grab that.
Yeah.
But back then I was like a warehouse manager for a company called Ancha Audiovisual. And one of my drivers, his last name was Farina. And I'm like, oh yeah, cool coincidence, you know. So one day I told him, yeah, I'm watching Crime Story, you know, every whatever night. And yeah, Dennis Farina's on that. And he's like, oh yeah, that's my uncle.
Jeez.
All right, cool.
How
Also
cool.
knew, so I have an old friend that her best friend is the niece of David Soul.
Whoa.
So I get these little connections, but it's like,
Yeah, that's cool.
but yeah, that's pretty much us. Oh, and you know, sometime in the next couple days, see all this gray hair here. I'm going to be a grandpa. So
Oh,
it's my stepdaughter Ivy is having a baby boy, and we got a couple days. And if she doesn't deliver in the next couple days, they're going to start inducing things. So by the next episode, I'll look much older and be a grandpa. Yeah.
we'll have to call you Pappy.
Well, you know, I've kind of, I think I might go with G Dad.
There you go.
Just sounds, yeah, it's G Dad. We'll see.
cool.
It's a boy, so you know.
All
Oh my
right.
We
God.
can bring him up and all this.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to like put little barriers up and stuff so you can't
That's
grab all the little figures and they're fighting.
Yeah, I had a nephew over here one time, and his mom told him, "Hands in your pocket. Keep your hands in your pocket." So
You're a better person than I wouldn't have hands in the pocket. I'd have a little taser handy.
don't touch it. Don't touch it.
This is your final warning.
You could get the little electrical fence around it and have the kid put that little shock collar on so if they get too close.
Oh my gosh. Well, my friends, we have covered much this episode. This was actually, all our episodes are enjoyable, but this was fun, just kind of shooting the breeze. We haven't had a lunch or a dinner together for quite some time, but this kind of like made up for that.
This is pretty
Could have
much
been
how
like
we
eating
would.
something.
Yeah, we could have had our dinner and
Yeah,
this
just
would
had
pretty
dinner
much
out here.
Yeah.
I know Larry
simulate
and
what it would be
Larry
like.
and I were drinking, but
Yeah.
it was Pepsi Zero, by the way.
I
I
just
had
got
apple juice.
water.
Oh, there you
water.
go. Walker had some water. Good.
There you go.
I have to stay hydrated out here or I'll fall apart like the cacti.
That's just incredible. Like, well, stay healthy. You guys take care. Bob, let us know when the baby arrives and enjoy the time off. reading your
I will be a
book.
posting.
Yes, yes, yes. Walker, stay hydrated.
I'm doing my best.
Yeah, I was out on a job today, and I have this water bottle that I've got a Planet 8 sticker on there. I got a Bay Area Film Event sticker and a Sci-Fi Japan and a Mantiques and a Gamera sticker and all this stuff. And I left it on the job site.
Oh no.
So I'm now water bottle-less. I had to go on Amazon and get another one that's coming tomorrow, but
Can you call them and have them hang on to it for you?
no, I think it was a middle school, and I think I left it
Oh,
on the edge of the, like out in the middle of the school. It was not like in a room or something. So I think it's gone forever, you know. I mean, who else could own a water bottle like that? But most people there don't know. So
some little SOB is going to be like, whoa, this is cool.
hey, someone could see that Planet 8 sticker and be watching us right now. Give me
As a
back my water
result.
bottle. So yeah, I'll have to amass some new stickers for the new one.
All right. Well,
I do have extra Planet 8 stickers, so I will definitely, that'll go on there right when I get it.
There you
cool.
So,
Excellent. Well, my friends, it was very enjoyable. Walker, I see that Romulan ship. Is that new?
That is a 70s vintage
Mm,
from the
look
original
back on us.
miniature kit. With the
nice.
3 ships. It's the only one that survived.
Oh, that was a
Ertl.
model kit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ertl.
Yeah, I had that.
The Ertl with
I
the
don't have any of them anymore. But
Enterprise, the Klingon, and the Romulan.
Yep.
Romulan made it.
That was like AMT, right?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it was
AMT.
AMT. Yeah.
Because
AMT
I
was
had
the original.
Enterprise, and I
Right.
had the big Klingon ship, and then I think I had those three.
Yeah. The little
I
snap
think they made like
togethers.
a communicator and phaser kit too. I think,
Yeah, those are long gone.
but yeah,
Indeed.
It's
all
about,
mine are gone. But
yep.
Very
in fact,
cool.
I took all that time to build the Enterprise, and some little kid in the neighborhood came over and just tried to make it fly.
Oh,
That was the end of the Enterprise. Looked like Star Trek 3.
That's terrible. Well, my friends, stay safe. Take care of yourselves. To our listeners, our friends out there, thank you so much for tuning in, listening to us, sharing the podcast on social media. There's I put in our name for a table at the convention in San Francisco. I got to give Bob and Karen the dates. I don't know.
What convention is this?
It's called the Fan Expo.
Okay. And it's
And
in
it's a
San
long
Francisco
shot.
proper?
San Francisco proper.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's at the Moscone, actually.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. And so I put us down as like a fan booth, even though we're a podcast, because we are kind of like a fan club as well. So we'll see if they approve us or not.
Did they have like podcast areas or not?
No.
Oh, no wonder. So sneak us in another.
It's more for like autograph hounds. I went to one. It used to be the Wizard magazine, and they
Mhm.
called them Wizard World Cons for a
Right.
while. And they give there's some discussion with the stars, but it's mostly them selling photo ops and autographs. Jonathan Frakes is going to be there, and I'm thinking he's in his 70s. Not to be morbid, I know I have a bad track record getting pictures and autographs, and people
Larry kills off everybody he has.
don't
Yeah.
say that.
don't get an autograph.
I didn't see Pee Wee Herman at all. Okay, so that's not my.
Okay.
But Jonathan Frakes is going to be there. They just announced that Ewan McGregor is going to be there. So we'll see if we get a table. We miss seeing you guys. We used to go to the Creatures Con back before that, went the way
Nice.
of the dinosaur. But we gotta get out there and see you guys. Maybe we'll have a listeners party or something next year or later this year. I don't know. I'm throwing all this stuff out there, and Bob and Karen are like, huh?
Well, I mean, there's really Star Wars bar closed down, and they haven't really
I know.
gotten
There's
anything
nothing
new.
else
I think
really.
they have all the bars and stuff in their garage from last what I saw. But
Yeah.
Kevin alerted me of a Star Wars bar in San Francisco out on Polk Street.
Okay.
And I guess it used to be like the second oldest gay bar in San Francisco. But the owner retired, left it to his son, and his son is more geek than gay. So he turned it into like a Star Wars. So it might be worth checking out. And who knows? Maybe we can have a listeners party there. But
Yeah. Maybe we can rent out Forbidden Island. I don't know. We'll see.
there you go.
Should be
You
something
got
fun.
connections there. I don't.
Well, anyway, thank you guys again for listening and tuning in. And until next time, this is the end of the episode. Stay safe. Peace out.
On that note, this will conclude this transmission from Planet 8. We would like to thank all of our intergalactic audience for listening. Be sure to head on over to our website at www.planet8podcast.com, where you can get more information on this episode's topic.
For more conversation, find us on Twitter at Planet8Cast.
Or on Facebook at facebook.com/Planet8Podcast.
We want to thank you guys for tuning in each and every episode. We look forward to your input and opinions. Until next time, this is Planet 8 signing off. End transmission.
By George, he's got it. It is the end.